Okay, everybody, and so this video I'm going to be talking about your parts kit, which you should have, and just kind of explain, walk through this sheet that they gave us, and just kind of show you where everything is so that you have something to reference. So if you are confused about which pieces are which, I will go over all of that right now. Okay, so you should have gotten this sort of a parts list that came with the kit. That's what I'm going to be referencing. So I'm essentially going from the top down here. So I may not put this in front of the camera because it's kind of hard to see where we're at here. But I'll sort of point, the general location if I'm on the front page or if I'm on the second page. Okay. So very first thing that I want to show everybody is, so this is the multimeter, which I'll do in a separate video. But this one is just on the parts kit. So if you open this up, okay, this is the top of it. And so you can see there's all these different compartments that have all these different things, and they're all broken up based on what this list says. Okay. The very first thing on the list is the stow and go. That's the actual case itself. And then there's a resistor kit. Okay. Now, as far as the resistor kit goes, I have torn mine apart. This is the box. I at least have the box still. Okay, so your resistor kit comes in a box that looks like this. Okay, I've actually taken it apart, and what I did is I rearranged what you have on the inside so that it looks like this. Okay, and so what I've done, if I can zoom in here, and you can see, when you take that resistor kit apart, those labels that you see right there are how it distinguishes which bin has which kind of resistor. So what I did is I just took the range for each one and I made it its own little compartment here. Okay, so I think there's 3 bags in this one, and all 3 bags have component values that are between 1 ohm and 8.2 ohm. And then this one was the next partition in that little resistor kit. This one's my 10 ohm to 82 ohm. So I have a separate spot for all of those instead of keeping them in the box, because the resistors are what we're going to be getting out all semester. And I tried using the box for a little while and I didn't care for it. So I think that something like this is a little bit better system. And you may decide that you want to do something else. Okay? Anyway, that is the resistor kit. The next is the capacitor kit, and that's all of these, right? The black electrolytic capacitors. And these ones in my hand are 330 microfarad, and there's a few more. So there's a couple of bags of the capacitors. Okay, and zoom out here. Sorry, trying to do all this freehand. And so next is the LEDs, all of the LEDs, and those are actually up here on the top. Okay, so if I open this top part here, you can see this little compartment. Okay, right here. So you've got the jumbo LEDs, you've got the regular colored LEDs, you've got the super bright. One of these, I think the 3-terminal, these you can, depending on what voltage you put on it, it has a different color for each one. But anyway, that entire section here that goes all the way down really to the middle of the page, all the way down to where we talk about the 7-segment display. So all of those LEDs are right here. Okay? Now, if we zoom back out, the next thing on the list is the 7-segment displays, and that's what's up here at the top. If I can focus on that for a minute. Zoom into the top here. That's what these are up here. So these you're going to use probably more in digital, right? Because that's, you would take a 7447 and light this up as a 7-segment display, right? So if you've taken, when you take 112, you'll figure out, or it could be when you take 122 actually, that you'll figure out what a 7447 is, and that's what actually drives this to display a certain number. But anyway, you've got those, and you also have these photo cells. Okay, and they're actually in the same little compartment there. Kind of hard to get out. Very, very tiny. And so essentially, the way it says an opto photocell. So as far as I know, without getting into the weeds of this, if there is sufficient light present, it will essentially act like a short, right? So it's kind of like using, like I just bought a night light for my bathroom. That's an auto on, auto off. So it detects the light, and then it turns the switch off, and then when it's dark enough and there's not enough light, it opens the switch, and then it turns the light on. So that's the kind of thing that I believe these photocells are used for, okay? Right next to it, right below the photocell, so we're about 3/4 of the way down on the front page now, and those are all of your IC chips. So this is all 120, 122, 112 stuff. There are 74, you can see there in the descriptions, in the part numbers. They actually call it, see, it's not gonna translate well. Let me see if I can focus. There we go. So you can see 7400, 7402, 7404, 7408. So it tells you on there what all the different IC chips are, if you remember that, or if you've taken 112. If you haven't taken digital before, then none of this stuff's gonna, you're not gonna understand anything I'm saying right now. But for your digital circuits classes, that's what you can use all of those IC chips for, okay? All right, and so when you think of circuits, these are the little things that everybody thinks of, right? The little rectangle square with the silver feet, okay? And then there's an integrated circuit for a timer. There's an integrated circuit for an op amp, and that's going to be over here at the right in the back. And those are the smaller footprint ones, the one in the back right there, okay? What's next? Linear ICs. And so now we're getting into some analog pieces right there. Okay. And I haven't looked at the exact part numbers of each one of these because we won't be using these for our particular class. But these are where the voltage regulators are, the amplifier. There's an audio amplifier here. And then also some transistors. Okay. We do not do transistors in this class. Okay. So really, I think that takes us through the first page now. So transistors, everything, that's up to about right here, okay? And then what you have next to it, on the next page, those last two bins on the right side, those are your Zener Diodes. And have we talked about Zener Diodes yet? I don't think so. We may have talked, no, we didn't talk about Zener. We talked about LEDs and we talked about silicon diodes, right? So we have yet to talk about Zener Diodes, but we will be using those for a lab, okay? So that takes care of all 4 of those Zener Diodes. And then there's a bridge rectifier that starts down here on the next line. And that's that great big black I guess it's a 4 lead, okay? And then next to that is where we start with our inductors, okay? So let me back out here and zoom out just a bit. Okay, so starting right here, these are inductors. These are what we call axial. These are called radial because both of the legs come out the same side. If it's axial, then it's like this, okay, where you have the center piece and then you've got a leg out on each side. All right, so radial terminals and axial. And this other one right here with the black one and the green one, those are inductors as well. Okay. I believe this is is this the speaker? No, the speaker's inside. What is that? That looks like a let's see. Yeah. Oh, okay, that could be a microphone. That could be a microphone, I think. All right. So you do have a microphone on here. I believe that is it because right afterwards there's a buzzer also. So my guess is this may be the buzzer right here. Okay. So you have some little gadget components that you can play with. And then this then talks about the wire spools. The wire spools are down here. And you have them in black and red. And the only difference is the color of the insulation on the outside. They're both copper wire. And they are a solid copper wire because, actually, these may be a different, yeah, here it is. It may be it may not be copper, but anyway, it's got the nice solid core. The solid core is what goes down into the breadboard really easy. Okay, it's very hard to do the threaded. So anyway, you've got the two spools of wire, and then there's a 10-piece alligator clip, which is right here. Let me pan down. That's where I've put mine. I think yours may be in a different spot, but that's where I decided to cram mine. And so that is that CBL, ASM, ALG. Those are alligator clips. There's 10 of them. These are really, really handy if you want to like clip onto different resistors, and especially when you go to like make a current measurement. Those are very, very handy. Okay, what do we have next? Well, there's before the potentiometers, there's also this thing, which I already have connected to my 9-volt battery. Okay. So again, you do have to have a 9-volt battery for this to work, because that's going to be your power source for all that we do. This is a 9-volt battery adapter. Okay, this is part of the reason that we went with this kit as opposed to the other one they sell, because they actually have this adapter. It just makes it easy, right? Plug it right onto a 9-volt battery, and really, once you have it on there for the semester, you never need to pull it off. So that's I just leave it connected like this all the time. Okay. What's next? So looks like so the speaker is my speaker, at least. I've got the speaker down here, and it's right above, it's right over here. So there is an actual speaker that you can drive, okay? And there's the terminals there at the top. I know that's out of focus a little bit there. Okay, and so what's after the speaker? That's where we have now the potentiometer. So the potentiometers, as you know from the Chapter 3 lecture, are our variable resistors. And so we've got some here, and it's stamped on them or printed on them what value they are. Like this one is a 50K. This one in my finger right here. But I had to look on the side to determine what the value is. Okay, so those are all your potentiometers. Then you got a couple of switches, which is kind of neat. You can actually wire in real switches. You know, most of the time I just mimic that with, you know, plugging a wire in or you know, unplugging it. But you actually have momentary push buttons here. Okay, so this kind of stuff is neat for you know, for digital logic too. Okay, and then this is another type of push button. Okay, they're both momentary. Then you've got these selector switches or toggle switches, which are not momentary. So if you move it, it stays in whatever position that you put it in. And what else? What other kind of slides? Ooh, we got more digital. So this is where, you know, if you wanted to turn off and on a bunch of inputs and outputs at once to test through your digital logic, you would probably use this type of switch. Okay. What else do we have here? We've got, it says resistor color code guide, which I have these off to the side too, because I've already pulled those out. And that's these two cards. Actually, one of them are there two of them or just one? No. So I don't know which one. Maybe they both came in there. Oh, so this one's the inductor guide, and this one is the resistor guide. Okay, and it's not showing anymore. Hang on one second here. So these are the resistor color code guides. Okay, and so this one right here is actually the inductor color code. We don't have to learn the inductor color codes, but we do have to know this one, right? So this is going to be really handy for your exam, right? And it's got all the standard values there in the back, commonly used values. Okay, what's next? A couple of motors, and I believe those motors are down here, right? Yeah, so one of them is right over here. If we pan down to here. So one of them I've got over here. The other one I've got over here. Okay, so those are the two motors, the 3 volt and the 9 volt. And what else do we have? We've got a prototyping board, which is this one right here. Okay, so this one you would actually have to have solder and, you know, physically attach, you know, permanently attach your components together if you wanted to try your hand at that. But the breadboard is what we will be working with, and I just got a couple of components in there right now. This is what I'm talking about when I, you know, when I say you know, I just completed my whiteboard, and that's half the whiteboard as I put a pegboard up on one side of it so that we can mimic what's happening on a breadboard, so that you can visualize it, you know, something bigger that you can visualize and then bring back here to the actual breadboard itself. But this is what we'll be using. I think when it comes that the backing on this is like in another piece, and you have to peel it off and then put it on here. Okay, so I think I've already done that part of it. All right, but anyway, that's the breadboard, and then there's a relay for a 12 volt relay and a 5 volt relay. I don't even know if I know where those are. That could be up here. Bunch of capacitors. It's got to be up here. And if we zoom out here, so we can see what we're doing. Let's see here. That's probably these right here. There we go. Yep. So these orange components up here at the front, those are your relays. Okay. Now, something that I don't, oh, okay, that's why I don't see it on there. I was looking for the thermocouple here, but this actually is not with the, you know, and neither are these, by the way. These are all from the other kit. So, you know, I have this open here. I think that may be where the alligator clips came in initially. We're right here. But anyway, I've pulled over this thermocouple and capacitor, or transistor. This one it's for transistors and for thermocouples and for capacitor measurements. So I keep all of that here because it's part of my whole kit. So that is all of the components in your parts kit. Okay, so if you ever need to know where one of these is, again, I think it would be helpful for you. You don't have to do exactly what I did here, okay? But I actually have this to where when I have some of this other stuff off to the side, the actual DMM itself, if I pan over here, the actual DMM can fit inside the box there, okay? And so, you know, then I would just have to take the leads off every time, but then I could, you know, then I can have absolutely everything in here at once. You just may have to, you know, obviously you'd have to take all the stuff out of here and then keep this on the side and then keep this on the side, okay? Now, I've got this stuff out every single day, so I just keep the DMM out. But if you just wanted a place to store everything, you should be able to get it all in here if you do something about the resistors, okay? So I think that's all I wanted to show you, and hopefully this helps you. I guess the only thing I didn't go over was these. These are wire strippers, and so if you needed a piece of wire, you can use this part of it on the very, very inside to cut it to length, and then you use the little angled pieces here to grip onto the insulation and then rip it so that you can expose an end of your wire like this. Okay? So again, the inside teeth or cutting mechanism here is for cutting to length, and then take the angled pieces there and just ever so slightly, as you're starting to get some resistance there, hold it steady and then pull it. And then, like if I do here, okay, I just exposed more of that wire if I want to. Okay? So hopefully this helps, and thanks for watching.